Hello everyone, Pteraptor101 here. Today I'm going to do a video of Godzilla 2014 versus Godzilla 2021. Let's get into the first category we're doing today. Let's start off with size. Godzilla 2014 is around 354 feet in height and around 90,000 tons. Godzilla 2021 is 393 feet in height and his weight is 164,000 tons. It's pretty fair to say Godzilla 2021 will get size over Godzilla 2014. Now let's move on to strength. Let's start off with Godzilla 2014. He completely stopped the Fimamuto's charge as well as picking her up by her neck, which if you don't know, she weighs around 60 to 70,000 tons. Also was shown to easily be able to kick her to the ground, as well as pushing the Fimamuto through multiple skyscrapers in an already tired state as he was constantly hunting the Mutos throughout the whole entire film. Godzilla easily killing the male Muto in one tail swing. Now let's move on to Godzilla 2021's strength. First off, he easily flips over the ship that Kong was on. This could be potentially a 300,000 tons he flipped in total. Also in the fight with Mechagodzilla, looking at how Godzilla was able to grapple and push Mechagodzilla to the side, which, looking at what's on screen, yeah, that's a lot of metric tons of force that he used to push Mechagodzilla. Remember, this is a heavily weakened and tired Godzilla in this fight. He has been fighting all night with Kong, and before that has constantly been hunting down Mechagodzilla, which I think most of us would know what happened to Godzilla once he found Mechagodzilla and finally got to fight him. He got his ass kicked. There are statements that says that a full-powered Godzilla is stronger than Mechagodzilla, so yeah, that is something to take into account. So Godzilla 2021 gets strength over Godzilla 2014. Now let's go on to speed and agility. Let's start off with Godzilla 2014. The thing about Godzilla 2014 is we really don't ever really see him being that agile. The Mutos were able to outmaneuver him. Of course, this was a relatively tired and worn out Godzilla by the time he does fight the Mutos, so it is something to take into account. Still, though, we rarely do see him do much agility feats. I guess his best agility feat is, being able to somewhat keep up with the male Muto, as well as, after he throws him, he predicts, how the male Muto is going to, attack him next, and just kind of, spins around extremely fast, killing the male Muto with a tail whip before the male Muto can react. So, I guess that's his best agility feat. Just to show how tired he is, looking out after the battle, after he killed the female Muto, he just straight up passes out. Just like after 3 steps away, just his body just gives out. So yeah, he was exhausted. But now let's move on to Godzilla 2021. Well, first off, for agility, he dodged Kong's axe blow. In the first few seconds of the fight, Godzilla was shown to be a bit more agile than Kong. However, this really doesn't last long, as Kong was easily outmaneuvering Godzilla, kicking him, punching him, was easily able to knock him to the ground. We see that in the final round, once Godzilla got Kong on the ground, he just started to pummel him, grabbing him by his arm, dragging him, just yeets him like 7 to 8 city blocks, dislocating his arm, and then charges him like a berserker, just smacks him to the ground. He just straight up destroyed Kong, going after him like just walking all fours like a crocodile, then just starts slashing his chest. Kong is just screaming in pain at this point, and he's pretty much lost. And this is Godzilla going all out on Kong, looking at the statement that should be on screen. that when the axe hit him, it bruised his ego. He kind of got real pissed about that, and he just beat the shit out of Kong because of it. So now let's move on to durability, and also Godzilla 2021 gets this point. Let's start off with Godzilla 2014. We see Godzilla at the start of Godzilla 2014 take a nuke directly to the face. So yeah, he's extremely durable. Now you may think from just looking at the fight scene between Godzilla and the Mutos that this would downgrade him, showing that he's not really that durable. Look how the Mutos easily pierce his skin. However, looking at the nuke feat, this would just mean that the Mutos scale above the nuke, but they just have more damage and power than a nuke does, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. Now, we do see him at the bridge, seemingly like roar in pain from the, ship shooting him and the tanks hitting him as well. But this wouldn't necessarily mean that, he's necessarily roaring in pain. These don't pierce his skin. Most likely, these are just groans of annoyance as they're just peppering him, hitting his gills. Um, you don't see him take any severe damage from these. He just tries to just get away from the bridge. Well, he just kind of goes right through it, but still, he really just wanted to get away from them. So now let's move on to Godzilla 2021. Missiles from jets don't really seem to do much to him, just a light annoyance. He was roaring in pain for the battleships, however, even that doesn't do much to him. As well as in the first second of the fight, getting knocked over by Mechagodzilla, getting hit over the head, getting hit in the face, as well as getting yanked into some buildings. Mechagodzilla was showing Godzilla no mercy in this fight, as well as grabbing him by his tail, dragging him along Hong Kong, even throwing him, beat him in the beam clash, severely burning Godzilla. He caused him extreme amounts of pain. And the only true wounds I see on him is maybe a black eye and it looks like maybe some burn marks on his chest from Mechagodzilla's beam. That really seems to be it. The only other thing that really did any damage to Godzilla was Kong, who hit him in the head with full force, causing some blood to show. Kong swinging the axe did make Godzilla bleed, as we do see when he pulls the axe out, like a little bit of blood on it. However, it would just mean the axe scales to him, and plus it's made of part of him, or at least one of his species, so yeah, it would scale to him pretty much. Okay, so that's it for Godzilla 2021's feats of durability. So, I would say being able to tank a nuke, Godzilla 2014 would easily take durability. So, let's now move on to special abilities. So this would be pretty much like beams, pulses, etc. Anything like energy absorber, whatever. So let's start off with Godzilla 2014. So Godzilla 2014's first ability doesn't really even need to be explained. It's Godzilla's signature weapon, his atomic breath. This weapon takes about a few seconds to charge up, but once it does, it's a devastating beam of radiation that was shown to be able to burn a female Muto, push her back into a building, cause her some pretty good burns, but it was the second blast that truly put the female Muto down. Practically she was unable to move after two direct shots to the beam, and she was helpless. The only other ability I can think of 2014 Godzilla has is his atomic pulse that he used against Miltop Prime. That attack that literally crippled her, leaving her immobile, allowed him to kill her. So yeah, two special abilities. That's relatively it. So let's move on to Godzilla 2021. Okay, so one of his abilities is that after Mothra died, sacrificed herself, Godzilla is able to now sense the earth, everything on the earth, sense the tides, just everything. He's able to feel the earth itself. So 2014 probably could sense things in more of an animalistic kind of way. He could sense everything at the same time, and it had its limitations. This time, he senses everything. Also, the GVK intro, if you look it down in the a corner, you can see notes that say ability to absorb energy from other sources and enemies during battle, which means he has energy absorption, which I guess we haven't seen. It's pretty debatable, but if this is canon, whatever, um, this is an ability. So yeah, that's another one of his abilities I didn't even know he had until I saw this. We also learn in Godzilla Dominion that he has heat vision. We see him use this against Skilla, or at least he looks at her with it, as well as he uses this with Tiamat. So yeah, he has heat vision now. Also, another ability we see him use is his intimidation display, something we don't see him use in 2014. However, this might be because of the Mutos hampering his atomic breath. So we couldn't use the intimidation display. Maybe not. One of Godzilla's signature abilities is known as the atomic breath. We see him use this in GDK to blast a hole into the hollow earth to go after Kong, and he done this in about like a minute or so, which is a pretty phenomenal feat if you ask me. If it wasn't obvious already, 2021 gets abilities over Godzilla 2014. Let's move on to intelligence and experience. First off, Godzilla 2014 was able to figure out more creative ways to kill the female Muto, as his atomic breath didn't work the first time, so it was like, I'll just fire it down her throat since there wasn't no armor to protect her from the full potential of his atomic blast. As Godzilla kept getting outflanked by the male Muto, he realized that after male Muto bites him on his gills, Godzilla kind of grabs him and just kind of throws him away when he realizes that in this moment he's going to have to think of a new strategy to fight him. So what he does is he faces his side towards the Mamuto. When he charges in, Godzilla turns his back to him and tail whips him, luring. He's trying to lure the Mamuto in close so that he can get a good tail whip, killing the Mamuto instantly. Now let's move on to Godzilla 2021. Godzilla 2021, after he hits Kong with the atomic breath, shows the laugh and enjoyment. Alright, so Godzilla also shown that when Kong dropped his axe to understand that this means surrender. So some pretty high levels of intelligence there as well. Godzilla is shown to be able to understand that when he shoots his atomic breath directly at the axe, it charges his weapon. So he's shown to remember this when he sees that Kong's axe can't really hurt Mechagodzilla. So he fires his atomic breath at it, making it a lot more deadly and more powerful, allowing Kong to defeat Mechagodzilla. So I think looking at everything I've said so far, that Godzilla 2021 would get this point. So now let's move on to experience. But to be honest, I don't think there really is a point, because Godzilla 2021 is an older version of Godzilla 2014. So yeah, he would get experience over Godzilla 2014. So who do I think would win this? Well, Godzilla 2014, the only thing he really got was durability. And he's pretty close with a few things. Intelligence is not too far apart. And he would take more attacks, but he is a lot slower. So 2021 would get a lot more hits in. And his hits would be more devastating. Well, at least, well, actually, no, they would be less devastating, at least compared to strength wise. But I believe 2021 would get this point. He's just an older, stronger version of 2014. Though 2014 was really he was really weak in 2014's final battle, because the Mutos hampered his atomic breath, as well as him already being tired of having to chase him around. But of course, if you want to be like, he was really tired in that final battle, so was 2021, because he drained half of his energy. It was already not at full energy when he fought, or when he blasted down into the Hollow Earth. So yeah, that's a pretty good way to say that 2021 would be 2014.